I rise in support of Budget 2017 and to recognize its truly transformational approach to the growth and development of Guyana. Mr. Speaker, the last speaker and several others over these last 2 days of discussions in this honorable House have been very strong on the shouts of taxes and more taxes. And I note the deliberate exclusion by all on the other side in mentioning even one, just maybe one, of the exciting transformational projects in this budget, and that in itself is a testimony to the level of this debate. And to my honorable member on the other side, don't worry, I will tell you. And to the last speaker, yes, you encouraged us to stand up. And yes, the people of Guyana stood up last May 15, 2015. When last did we hear of concrete plans to erect a permanent fixed bridge over the Essequibo River in a budget speech? To desalt the Demerara River, which our shipping companies have been crying out to be done for decades. Finally, starting the road from Linden to Maburu, the first phase of the road to Lethem that will truly become the gateway to the hinterland, that will provide economic and trading opportunities that lie unrealized between us and our neighbors in the south. Or the innovative project to develop the boardwalk at the seawall that will take the experiences of many a visitor to the city of Georgetown by any tourist returning Guyanese or resident to another level. Yes, when last did we see these things begin to happen? And what is strange, Mr. Speaker, is that none of the speakers on the other side could mention this. Mr. Speaker, we Guyanese have been drowning in the sea of potential since we were born, hoping that it would be realized in our lifetime. But look at the delivery as the yardstick, and you will see that we have been comatose for the last 2 decades. But things have begun to change since May 2015. Mr. Speaker, technology has geared us to moving and thinking at a fast pace. We all want to respond to an email in a few minutes and not a few days like it took many years ago. And so as a society, we understandably want Guyana to change today. We want it to change now. We want to see the promises realized now. We ain't waiting 18 months and they ain't deliver yet. But we forget how broken we had become below the surface. We stripped away the independence of some of our key institutions. Some we know decided that paying a bribe could standing and become standard operating procedure. And paying taxes? Why would we do that? Mr. Speaker, these are the things we don't like to speak about. It will take time to clean up the mess. It cannot be done in a year. But look around you and see the positive signs. We have heard over these last 2 days, water to communities that never had before, roads where they never had before, lights on roads that had never been there before, flooding stopped in areas like have never happened before. Today, many parts of the world are in shambles. Economies under the strain in Trinidad, Suriname, Brazil, Venezuela. But I want to tell you that the sun is shining on Guyana right now, sending bright rays full of opportunities. But we have to see them, take advantage of them, and not succumb to the petty politics of the other side. The screaming and shouting of gloom and doom will not despair or destroy our spirit of hope. And never willing to come to the table and put Guyana first is something that we feel they need to change. So today I stand tall, excited at the promise of a good life for all, and commend my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Finance, for thinking long-term, planning ahead, and for a truly transformational budget. Mr. Speaker, today's dynamic and competitive global economy demands an ambitious national commitment to technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And as I hope we're all aware, technology and the internet are transforming economies worldwide. Mr. Speaker, in January 2016, the Ministry of Public Telecommunications was gazetted and conceived for one fundamental purpose. That was to develop the enabling environment at the policy and infrastructure level to ensure that information communication technologies are fully utilized for national development. Mr. Speaker, the overall vision of the Ministry of Public Telecommunications, therefore, is the creation of a knowledge-based society, which is globally competitive and productive, one that will give rise to the strategic placement of Guyana as a premier ICT hub in the region. Mr. Speaker, for too long in Guyana, we've done things the same old traditional way. A rigid economy which for decades depended on two major agricultural products, mainly sugar and rice. Many countries started the process of diversification decades ago. We didn't, and have been left out exchanging political rhetoric for sound economic principles over the years. Today we recognize that we have developed, but have we transformed this country and its people? We have not. And I'm here to tell this honorable House and my fellow Guyanese that this government can and will transform this land of Guyana through the creation of a digital economy and the use of ICT. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to inform you that we are now on the threshold of transformation in public services and the way we provide these services to the citizens of Guyana. This we will do by providing online digital services to Guyanese consumers at key ministries, at public sector agencies in the area of passport and driver license applications, e-commerce, telemedicine, online education and training, and by encouraging all our citizens, especially young people, to take advantage of the increased entrepreneurial activities that the World Wide Web offers. We have corrected several of the ills of the ICT mismanagement and functional incompetence exhibited and perpetuated for many years by the previous administration, such as the fiber optic network that didn't work, and we're still paying the loan on that, and the damaged cable to the hinterland that squandered billions of taxpayers' money. But we are putting all of that behind us and starting from scratch, so to speak. Now we're ready to realize real transformation in the public sector through ICT interventions. The e-government unit is the engine of our ministry. The government has reviewed, repaired, and consolidated the e-government network, constituting the fiber optic backbone around Georgetown, with an LTE network spanning from Charity to Springlands. This network was first established in 2012, but only operationalized last year by this administration, and is now the basis for connecting government ministries and agencies. To this end, this government has connected and provided secure, controlled internet access to over 140 locations. With this level of interconnectivity, we have equipped 86 secondary schools, 3 regional educational offices, 3 Cyril Potter education locations, both campuses of UG, and 6 technical and vocational institutions with reliable, high-speed internet access to and educational content to their computer laboratories, as well as advanced the effectiveness of law enforcement. Further, several poor, remote, and hinterland communities are now digitally connected through the installation of 14 ICT hubs in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Hubs have been established in Good Hope, Charity, Dartmouth, Bakersville, Buxton, Better Hope, Lusignan, Sophia, Port Morant, Liverpool, and many more. And through this intervention, over 66,000 residents will now have access at community ICT hubs. We are conducting assessments to determine through an evidence-based approach the real and emerging needs of these communities and building the capacity to meet them. Mr. Speaker, our President, the Honorable David Granger, reconceptualized and developed a modern project in the form of the One Laptop per Teacher program. Today, over 8,202 laptops have been distributed to teachers across all 10 regions. The goal of this approach, no, they don't have to pay for it. The goal of this approach is to improve digital access and learning, and is complemented by government's initiative to install high-speed internet access in all secondary schools. Teachers all over Guyana now own their own laptops that have been preloaded with marking schemes, e-textbooks with links to research material, teaching aids for maths and science, and so much more. So when my colleagues on the other side, MP Selman, is still speaking of text papers and textbooks, we are preparing to move Guyana way past that in the future. And so to the Honorable Member Damon, this is the era of science and technology, as you said. And it is our government, this APNU plus AFC government, that will take you there. Mr. Speaker, we have overcome a major hurdle in terms of salvaging the e-government network. Most notably, the fiber optic link to Lethem was decommissioned at a loss of over $1.3 billion of taxpayers' money, which must be placed squarely on the past PPP government, as possibilities to repair have proved impossible, and funds for this purpose allocated in our 2016 budget went unused. Nevertheless, we have just begun to scratch the surface in Guyana in the context of our agenda to operationalize Guyana's e-government framework and strategy. As the ministry began to build out its operational capacity during 2016, we recognized that a major priority was the creation of an open, liberalized telecommunications sector. To this end, in July 2016, we laid before Parliament and passed the 2016 Telecommunications and Amended Public Utilities Commission Bill. The passing of these bills have established a framework and conditions under which our sector will be liberalized. As part of this framework, we also completed 8 sections of legislation as required by the new legislation. 8 sections of regulations as required by the new legislation, and we've sent them out to the public for consultations. To come very soon are the electronic transactions, data protection, and other relevant legislations. With the liberalization of the telecommunications sector, new frontiers of innovation and entrepreneurship will be opened up. Higher levels of academic achievement will be realized by enabling a level playing field for all Guyanese children and students pursuing academic and vocational, personal and professional development. New business models can now become the reality in Guyana, where citizens can join their counterparts around the world in developing new entrepreneurial and e-commerce opportunities, all from the convenience of their home. The implementation of this plan in 2017 is as follows. Mr. Speaker, $1.58 billion is budgeted for investment in e-government initiatives. Of that, an estimated $114 million is allocated for the provision of public internet access at over 600 government buildings across the country. These public internet access points will increase the opportunities and challenges through which thousands of Guyanese will be able to access online resources as part of government's aim to reduce the digital divide and to increase digital interconnection and association with government. key to this initiative is the transformation of strategically located post offices into comfortable, refurbished ICT hubs, which will provide citizens, and especially our pensioners, an opportunity to visit these hubs to also access free of charge related government services. All post offices within the reach of the e-government network, especially those located in digitally previously excluded communities such as Lethem, Linden, Bartica, Mahdia, Mabaruma, and Port Kaituma, will all become community ICT hubs. An estimated 90 million will be used to provide ICT access for hinterland as well as poor and remote communities throughout Guyana. We intend to expand the reach of government services to the hinterland. Community ICT hubs will be established in Anai, Lethem, Warramadang, Paramakatoy, Al Shelton, St. Cuthbert's Mission, Bartica, Mabaruma, Kekwani, and many other areas, and at least 24 more pilot communities across Guyana. The aim of this initiative is to improve the livelihood of persons in these regions and to reduce the digital divide that exists between the coast and the hinterland, between the haves and the have-nots, between urban and rural areas through the access to educational resources. It also allows us to leverage local indigenous knowledge in the development of Guyana's natural raw materials. A further 30 pilot community ICT hubs serving an estimated 60,000 residents will also be established in Region 2, in Region 4, in Region 5 and 6. These in Regions 1, 7, 8, 9 and 10 will also be considered, as well as other potential communities in other regions. In rural, poor, and remote communities, these community centers will be run by local people and will serve members of the community in providing internet access, training, and computers to equip these centers. These hubs will provide residents access to information and services. An estimated 30 million has been allocated for these pilot projects, and in the wider project is expected to come on stream in the latter part of 2017. All of this will be accommodated through the e-government network. Therefore, maintaining and expanding the reach of this network is of critical importance. Approximately 435 million is allocated for this activity. This includes approximately 70 million for the expansion of the network into unserved areas, including Tamari, Amelia's Ward, Diamond, and further afield. 50 million for ensuring cybersecurity of government's network, and 275 million for the maintenance and technical support services that are going to be required. A further 674 million has been allocated towards the provision of connectivity and internet access to the over 140 government locations already connected to the e-government network. Finally, government has also recognized that there is a need to boost our ICT human capacity. Approximately 160 million will be spent on the delivery of specialized ICT training in collaboration with the Government of India through the Center of Excellence in Information Technology. And I want to say at this point that the training that will be provided at that center is absolutely free. The fully renovated, refurbished, and adequately equipped center will be opened in 2017 and will focus on the training of the trainers programs and training in a range of basic and advanced ICT areas of specializations. Mr. Speaker, just a month ago, this ministry held its first hackathon, which showed us that there is a growing, energized ICT community of vibrant young people right here in Guyana doing really amazing things. But our system has locked them out for a long time, and they're frustrated. Mr. Speaker, in just 48 hours, the best of these young minds came up with apps to deal with several of the challenges we have been facing forever as a nation. Mr. Speaker, we were all worried about crime, but when will we stop and think and recognize that anyone that walks around with millions of dollars in cash in their hands is a sitting duck? Well, Mr. Speaker, our own indigenous solutions are nearly here as this hackathon produced an electronic payment system that will allow people to no longer carry so much cash. Well, Mr. Speaker, utilizing the systems of mobile money and the technology of an electronic payment system, the time has come when we will be able to pay our pensioners all over Guyana much faster and with an electronic payment system. It will also cost the Ministries of Public Telecommunications and Social Protection a lot less money also to use this form of payment. So, Mr. Speaker, I have attempted to show you that this hackathon, this opportunity to develop local ICT skills, has displayed the talent that we have right here. Another app that was created that we intend to use in a very practical way in 2017 is an app that connects farmers with real-time information and data on existing local, regional, and international markets so that farmers can actually produce to an existing market. And this is data that, again, could be on a farm in real time. But, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't stop there. The highlight of our transformational strategy is the implementation in a phased way of a Safe City, Smart City program, one that we're calling Smart Guyana. Imagine an ICT-driven program which integrates all sectors and services into one cohesive whole. A safe city model that is already being implemented by the Ministry of Public Security that uses technology, cameras on street corners, a command center monitored 24/7, and new communication tools that will ensure that if you do the crime, you will do the time. Mr. Speaker, no matter on which side of the political fence you may be, most should accept that never before have we solved so many crimes in a short space of time in Guyana. Remember those days of the past administration when the unsolved file was full. The smart city concept builds on our efforts to bring to-date and up-to-date technology to government services, to teaching, to taking a doctor through Skype or another form of technology to remote villages, so the consultation between a health worker and a patient and maybe a doctor in Georgetown or anywhere else can take place. I'm sure you get the picture. And yes, can we do it? You know, yes, we can. With the development of our Smart Guyana project, this government has signed an MOU already, and the gathering of information has begun. We will expand the standing LTE and fiber optic networks into inland areas, into new towns, like Bartica, Madhya, into Kwakwani, and the Berbice Riverine communities, as well as the areas that Phase 1 missed, such as Bushlot and Bath Settlement in Berbice, or in the Pomeroon in the Essequibo. And I want to mention here that for the last 6 months, our technicians at the e-government unit have been going out and doing 3 things simultaneously. They're installing internet-ready equipment in community centers. They're training community leaders and children in the use of internet. And they're installing more receivers to connect computer laboratories in secondary schools. Up to November, they had connected over 120 schools on the coastland and in the hinterland. The implementation plan for 2017 is as follows. Mr. Speaker, $1.8 billion is budgeted for investment in e-government initiatives. Of that, an estimated 114 million is, as I mentioned, allocated to the provision of public internet access at over 600 government buildings. Very key to this initiative are the post offices, especially those located in communities that are waiting to be connected, such as Letham, Linden, Bartica, Mabaruma. In rural, poor, and remote communities, which will be run independently by local people, local residents, improving residents' access to information and services is our priority. Mr. Speaker, before I close, I would like to speak a little more about our post offices. There are 64 post offices throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. While methods of communications have changed, this particular national resource has not undergone specific change and investment over the last decade.
Honourable Member, you've been speaking for 25 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform that the government intends to recalibrate the post offices to ensure a mandate that is more efficient with services to be provided in the 21st century. These include internet-ready services, bill payments, same-day money transfer, and of course, I mentioned the electronic payment plan. The National Frequency Management Unit continues to operate as a regulator responsible for spectrum management and number administration. The NFMU's 2017 budget projections are meant to better position it to serve the public and to facilitate government and private sector's rollout of the telecoms ICT network services. With the liberalization of the telecoms ICT sector, it is expected that more operators will enter the marketplace. This will lead to demand for additional spectrum. The new liberalized technological environment also creates a new role for the expanded Public Utilities Commission. And with respect to communications, rates are to be determined by supply and demand in an open, competitive market economy. And the Commission will have oversight to ensure that these rates are fair and reasonable. Mr. Speaker, the new Guyana will be a country in which ICT skills will be the foundation of our education, preparing our young people to work in new areas of employment, such as digitization of a lot of our government records and what will be required within the private sector. Already, Guyana is making a name for itself in the emergence of call centers. There are more coming on the table. And for those expanding like Qualfon and Teleperformance, we thank you for your commitment to Guyana. And let me allay your fears regarding any misinformation that may be peddled to you. As an export-led company, the 40% duty on data will not apply to this sector. Mr. Speaker, all these measures cost money. But let's be honest and give Jack his jacket. A hue and cry has been made over the 40% tax on water. But the facts are, as my colleague Minister Bulkan has explained to you, you would have to use over 12 400-gallon black tanks of water as a citizen every month to get to that level. And the 14% tax on electricity, we heard that of GPL's 108,825 customers, 80.09% pay less than the $10,000 amount. Citizens out there listening, please remember that. Mr. Speaker, the VAT on data has also received harsh criticisms, but I want to remind us all that it is a necessary revenue stream given the range of transformational measures I have shared. In the long run, with the new liberalized environment that will spur competition, I expect to see our high costs of internet access when compared to other parts of the Caribbean reduced in time, and that will benefit us all. Free internet access at ICT hubs will nonetheless provide valuable support to many. Mr. Speaker, budgets are difficult. Even in our home, we don't have enough, or
Honourable Member, you must contain yourself.
or we don't get all that we want. And therefore, I want to say that this budget is transformational, and we're laying a foundation. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I want to say that in Guyana, our minimum wage has moved from 39,540 to 55,000 in 8 months, with workers taking home 15,460 more. This has never been done in recent years by the PPP. Not the regular 5% increase in salaries the PPP offered for over 14 years, but guess what? 36.4% increase over the last 18 months. The former Minister of Education shouts about the stoppage of the 10,000 grant, but this made a one-off payment of 50,000. Budget 2017 gives old age an increase in old age pension to 19,000, a reduction in corporation tax, a reduction in the value-added tax, and more. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to the future with anticipation, because especially within my sector, I know that there will be transformational changes. So I therefore recommend the passage of this budget to the House, and I say, let the transformation begin.